Hey everyone, how's it going? You doing okay? Awesome. All right. So, welcome back to another episode of Caffeinated CX, where we talk about customer experience and stuff, all in a hyper caffeinated state. You doing good? How was your Thanksgiving? I hope it was grand. I hope it was fantastic. I hope that you're thankful for your Thanksgiving and hold a space of gratitude in your heart. So, what are we going to be talking about today? Today, I'm going to do a follow up on my book, The Blue Collar Call Center. That's right. If you're new to the show, welcome. But also, know this. I am in the home services industry, plumbing and HVAC to be precise. And this industry holds a special place in my heart. And to be honest, the home industry's call centers hold an even specialer place in my heart. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I even wrote a book on it. I already mentioned that, but it's called The Blue Collar Call Center. There's a link in the little show notes there to my link tree, which has a link to the book. It's also on Amazon. It's $5. That ain't much. That ain't much at all, is it? No, it's not. If you prefer a digital, well, that's only like $3. That's a $2 savings. You just won't have the cool artwork or the cool paperback, which you can write on or use as like a spacer if your like one desk leg is too short, something like that. It's okay. It's okay. I ain't mad about that. It's all right. It's your book. You bought it. It's yours. So, with that being said, let's talk about this follow-up to the book that I mentioned. And it's pretty simple. There are 4 pillars that hold up a blue-collar call center. And those 4 pillars are customer experience, booked leads, field support, and company culture. So, let's take it one step at a time. The first pillar is customer experience. The experience the customer has with your company. Now, before they reach out to your call center, right, they may have seen some marketing. They may have seen an ad. They may have seen one of your vans driving in their neighborhood. All that's nice and good. But they're only paying partial attention to that stuff. It gives them brand and name recognition. But when they call into your call center, and that friendly, smiling voice picks up the phone, and they give a fantastic greeting, that customer is hanging on every single word that customer service rep is saying. So, let it be good. Now the customer experience does not stop and it does not end with your call center. That would be ridiculous. That would be the opposite of what customer experience actually is, but it is a vital step in the customer journey. And that's where the rubber meets the road. So, it is what it is. So, if your call center agents aren't trained, if they're not taken care of, right? If you just hire anybody with a pulse and a voice or the ability to type on a keyboard, you're going to have a bad time. Your customers are going to have a bad time. Your service technicians are going to have a bad time. Right? There's going to be so many mistakes, so many unbooked leads, and nobody's going to be happy. So get the right people. Use personality tests like the DISC or the Culture Index or anything of that nature, just to make sure you're getting the right people. Now, for inbound calls, right, you're going to want people who have, like on the DISC anyway, are going to have high I's and high S's. So influence and steadfastness, right? Because it's a trying job. It's a hard job. It's not an easy job. Right? And they're going to want some influence. You want them to be able to talk to people. They should have high emotional intelligence and high adversity intelligence, right? So IQ is okay. You want pattern solving and you want them to remember things, but EQ is more important than IQ. So there we go. Now, you want your people empowered to provide the best customer service and the best experience possible for your customer base. Why? Because there's probably a lot of competition out there for you. And one way to make yourself stand out in an industry like the home services is to have amazing, rock solid customer service. It is a business differentiator. So there's that. And you can listen to pretty much any other episode on this podcast about customer experience, because I do have a lot of them. We're up to almost like 200 episodes now. So that's cool. But that brings us to the next pillar, which is booked leads. If you don't have booked leads, you don't have appointments to run, which means your technicians are sitting around doing nothing. So this is where sales skills come in to the picture here, because customers are going to have some questions. Now, if you're giving prices out over the phone, you shouldn't do that, because without putting eyes on it first by a skilled technician, you're making stuff up, right? So your customer service reps are going to have to learn how to use rebuttals. And there's a wide variety of rebuttals you could use, right? But they're most likely going to come from 4 different angles, right? The first one is going to be a pricing objection, right? Because most home services cannot ethically give a price out over the phone. It's just one of those things. So I'm going to turn my fan on so if there's any background noise, that's what that is. But you cannot ethically give a concrete price out over the phone for a plumbing or an HVAC issue. You can't. So you're going to have to come up with some rebuttals for those objections. One good one is, we use flat rate pricing. Comes out of a book. Now, every situation is different, so we would have to do a visual assessment at the very least to give you an accurate upfront price. That's a good rebuttal, right? So the next one is if your company has a dispatch fee or a service fee, anything like that for the person to go out on a visit, you're going to want some rebuttals for that objection, because nobody wants to pay for someone just to show up to their house, right? And while it's a little bit more forgivable for HVAC services because they're just diagnostics and everything else, for plumbing, it doesn't make any sense, really. Honestly, that's me. That's my opinion. It is what it is. Most companies have them. The ones that don't set themselves apart, and they can set themselves apart in 2 ways. One, that they're desperate, right? Or 2, they are so sure of their services being amazing that they don't need to charge to go out there because they know they can fix it, right? That's it. Those are the two ways. Which company are you, right? So, yeah, again, it is what it is. So you're going to have some rebuttals for that and empower your people to waive that fee in order to save the appointment. Yeah. I know some of the common wisdom is you should never waive your dispatch fee. That's BS. You should. If it gets your technician to the door, waive it. As like a second or third rebuttal, right? You don't want to come out right of the gate. Oh, there's a dispatch fee? I'll go ahead and waive that for you. No, you don't want to do that. The second or third rebuttal. So, a good way of training your people up on rebuttals is sales training. And I know that sales gives a lot of people a bad taste in the mouth, but it is what it is. Every call, every interaction is a sales call. You're selling something. In the case of a blue-collar call center, you're selling the appointments. You're selling the value of the company, right? So, there we go. And then another common objection is the "I'll call you back" one, right at the end of the call. They haven't booked yet. I'll give you a call back. Here's a spoiler alert. They won't. They're lying. Don't believe them. Now, this usually happens when the customer service rep botched it on the call. They didn't build enough value. They didn't have a decent empathy statement, anything like that, right? So, it is what it is, like I said, but there are ways of overcoming that. One is, hey, you know what? Let's get you on the schedule. No harm, no foul. Spaces are filling up, so I don't want you to have to wait any longer than you have to for an appointment. Now, if push comes to shove, we can either cancel or reschedule that appointment for you when our dispatcher calls you, or you can just text in, right? No harm, no foul again. Let's do it. Or, if that doesn't work, when's a good time I can call you back? And stuff like that. That one's kind of a last-ditch effort here, but the key is book the lead. You can't make any money or feed your families if you don't have booked leads. And booked leads are vastly important, and keeping the cost down on those leads, vastly important. So you don't want to overlook that. You want to give your CSRs some sales training. If you have some CSRs that just bad taste in their mouth, call it something else. I've always likened sales to tech support, right? In this way. What is sales? Sales is someone has a problem, right? And you're providing a solution, right? What do you do in tech support? Someone has a problem, and you walk them through the solution. Here, in this industry, when someone has a problem, right? The solution is to get them on the schedule. Boom. They wouldn't be calling in otherwise. You don't see many people calling in just to talk about the weather. No. They're calling in because they have an issue that needs to be solved. There we go. Get them on the schedule. You're not helping them if you're not. The next pillar is field support. Now, what's that? All right, so field support is when a service technician has an issue out in the field. Like, let's say their tablet's not working, or their iPad's not working, or they need to be put onto a job, right? They need to be attached to a job or dispatched out to a job because the person that's already on the job needs help, yada, 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 right? The CSR in the blue collar call center should be intimately familiar with the CRM or dispatching software that you have. Now, if you have Service Titan, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, you can do all that, right? The key is you have to view, if you're in the blue collar call center, you have to view the service technicians as a customer as well. And that ties back into the first pillar, customer experience. You are there to help them, just like they're there to help you. You guys are a team. So, and what's the last pillar? The last pillar is company culture. So I ran out of space there. Okay. So the company culture is one of the most important parts of a company. And you can break it down from company culture to department culture to team culture, right? And some teams, even in the same department, have a completely different culture than another team. And some departments have a completely different culture than the company. So you have to foster a culture within your department that could spread to the rest of the company. Your culture should be one of learning, one of growth, one of accountability, but mostly growth, right? I've always had a philosophy of up and out. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't necessarily mean out of the company. It could mean another role, step up in their career progression. And you should always have a clear career progression within your operations manual. Now, you should always have an operations manual for every single position and every single department that you have in your company. That goes without saying. You probably already have that, right? In that operations manual should be a progression of how someone can move up in the company, right? And if you don't have that, you're doing yourself and your staff a disservice, right? Because there's not many people that want to remain a customer service rep for 10 years, all right? So they want to move up or they want to move on. And you should train your people and treat them so well that they can leave if they wanted to, but, then you treat them well enough so that they don't want to, that they want to stay within your company. Because let me tell you, turnover is bloody expensive. It's a huge expense. Training is a huge expense, especially new hire training, orientation, onboarding, all of that expensive. So, with that, keep your people. I know a lot of call centers have a 50, 60, 70% turnover rate year over year. That's insane. You should be 20% or less. Right? How do you do that? You pay well enough and you treat your people well enough that they want to stay. Company culture can also include things like incentive pay. Are you bonusing your people? Why? Why not? You should. It's one of the best things. We all know that most companies don't pay their customer service reps, the face and the voice of the company, a living wage. So you can supplement that with incentive pay. Yeah, there you go. Incentive pay is one of the best things that you can have. So do that. And then have inclusion, have company events. Potlucks work well. I know it's cliche and a lot of people look down on it, but throw a pizza party every now and again when people win stuff, right? Have employees of the month. Have company trips. Have company gatherings. Things like that. Make it so that people want to go to work. Make it so that people want to log in or come into the office for the day, right? Flexible scheduling is huge on this too. Have flexible scheduling, right? Now, if your company is only open like 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, there's not that much flexibility you can have. It kind of has to be there between 8 and 5. If you're 24/7, well, you have more leeway in that flexibility, right? If people want to work from home and their stats dictate that they can, then good. Let them work from home. If they keep up their stats, if they keep up their metrics, they can continue to work from home for as long as possible, as long as they want. The office is always an option. So here, where I run the call center, after 90 days, if the attendance is there and the stats are there and they have the right internet speed at home and all blah, 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 right? They have the option to either go hybrid or work from home, depending, right? And the only expectation is their stats have to be above average. They have to be above the median. They have to be above the KPI thresholds. And, their attendance has to be good. If it's not, They can't. They have to return to the office. So it is what it is. It's a right. No, that's not right. It's a privilege, not a right. So, and it goes to the top performers, right? So there you go. And I have my incentive pay based on the same thing. You can unlock your performance pay by your QA scores and your attendance. Boom. There you go. It's very clear cut. It's very transparent. And people will know how much exactly they're getting when their monthly bonus comes in. So, there you go. Now, those are the 4 pillars. Once again, those are customer experience, book leads, field support, and culture. Right? Those are what props up the blue collar call center. In fact, it will prop up any call center. Blue collar, white collar, pink collar, yellow collar, black collar. I don't know the collars, okay? Okay? There's blue and white as far as I'm aware. I made up the other ones. Although they might exist. I don't know what they are. That's fine. So, that's it. I'm probably going to write a follow-up to the blue collar call center about these pillars because I think they're that important to drill in, especially to the home industries or the home service industries, because there's not enough written on this industry. There's not enough written on this industry's customer service staff. So, I mean, you can read Al Levy, you can read Tommy Mello, and others, right, who have written books on it. But honestly, only a little bit of those books are about customer service or the call center, right? And since a lot of blue collar call centers are going overseas, which is not very blue collar, if you ask me, then I think it's about the right time so that we can save the industry, right? So if you got anything out of this episode, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share, comment, share the show so we can make the show grow, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Good night.